Celebrity matches. Most of the time when you hear that phrase, you groan. The pure fact that most matches involving non-wrestlers in a wrestling role are either bad or masked in some shenanigans that make the match irrelevant. The truth is though, that if you are watching this video, then these celeb cameos are not for you. They're for the non-Graps fans that might tune in just to see what's going on during the old wrestling show. And maybe they will stick around for a bit and become a fan. That's why wrestling companies keep trying to get the mainstream clout. It's a business decision that will more than likely never go away. Sometimes though, celebrity matches surprise us. Whether it's because the characters themselves have real in-ring skill, was carried by their opponent, or was such a spectacle that you couldn't help but enjoy it, it exceeded your expectations and made you nod your head in approval. We are going to look at some of them today, as I am Rob from the We Are Marks crew. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and these are the top 10 celebrity matches in wrestling history. And please note that we are not counting matches from celebrities who became full-time wrestlers, so Ronda Rousey and Logan Paul will not be on the list, though their first matches respectively were very, very good. Number 10, Karl Malone and DDP versus Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan at Bash at the Beach 1998. Everyone wanted to be part of the NWO in 1998. When Hulk Hogan traded in his red and yellow for black and white, he created such a buzz with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash that the mainstream media had to take notice. And with that, every wrestler in the locker room wanted to get in on the action. One of the people that wanted in was the bad boy of the NBA, Dennis Rodman. He would be seen on WCW Nitro riding with Hulk in limos while smoking cigars. He loved hanging out with the boys so much that he even skipped a practice during the NBA Finals to go to a Nitro taping in Detroit. One person who was not on board the NWO bandwagon was Diamond Dallas Page. He had been a thorn in the side of the black and white for a while, and when Rodman started getting involved in the Yoga Masters ordeals, he decided to even the odds with the Worm's own enemy. He brought in Utah Jazz's Karl Malone to set up a match at that year's Bash at the Beach. The match itself is nothing to write home about. A lot of walking around and taunting with simple moves that you learn in your first week of wrestling school. But it was the atmosphere that carried this. These two men have squared off in the NBA Finals 2 years in a row at that time, so the world was watching. And when the mailman slammed Hogan to the mat, the crowd erupted. Hogan and Rodman would go on to win the match, and it would be the only time Malone would lace up boots instead of sneakers in his career. WCW went a little overboard with celebrities after this, from Jay Leno to David Arquette becoming champion. But they did this match correctly, and it will be remembered as one of the great moments from the end of WCW. Number 9, Jerry Lawler versus Andy Kaufman at the Memphis Coliseum. This is the original mainstream crossover match, one that Jerry Lawler to this day will laugh about. It started when Andy Kaufman, a comedian, went around wrestling women saying how they are far less superior to him. This struck a nerve with the Memphis wrestling icon Jerry the King Lawler. Lawler finally convinced Kaufman to step into the ring with him at the Memphis Coliseum, where Lawler used 2 pile drivers for the win. Kaufman, understand what a work was, used a stretcher job to sell the injury of a broken neck. They went on to continue to have a war of words, one which had them on Late Night with David Letterman trading barbs. If you haven't seen this segment, go and watch it. Kaufman looks legit pissed at Lawler, and Letterman, who didn't know if this was all for show, looks like he wanted to be anywhere else but there. This feud is a fun one to look back on. It was before the internet, so the information was not a click away, and yet it garnered national exposure. While Andy Kaufman was a name America knew, Jerry Lawler was really only known in the Southern wrestling circles. Sadly, Andy passed away shortly after this and never really cleared the air about it. So when it came time to make a movie about Andy's life, Jim Carrey legit thought Andy and Jerry hated each other so much that he did not want to speak to him on set. If that isn't keeping kayfabe alive, I don't know what is. Number 8, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam 2025. Jelly Roll is an R&B, country, rock and roll, or is he a rapper? Jelly Roll sings songs of whatever version he feels like singing, and I for one think that's great. He's also a very big fan of WWE and Randy Orton. So when he went to the ring to perform for the crowd on the July 11, 2025 edition of SmackDown, he was smiling. His smiling stopped then when instead of hearing his backing tracks, he heard Logan Paul's entrance theme. Logan ran down the Grammy winner, telling him how influencers and clout chasers should not be able to use the success of true wrestlers to gain more fame. Alright then. This brought out Randy Orton, who defended the Pastry Man, which in turn brought out Drew McIntyre, who was feuding with Randy at the time. This set up a match at SummerSlam, using another late night show, this time on Jimmy Kimmel, to get more eyes on the product. The match itself was pretty good, and you would expect it to be considering who was in the ring with each other. Now normally during these celebrity tag matches, the guest would sit on the side until a hot tag, not Jelly Roll. He started the match and took bumps like a champ. Another shocking part of this match is Jelly Roll took the pin after Paul hit the frog splash on him, something unheard of in most of these matches. I put this on this list because I do not think this one is quite done yet. Jelly Roll lost 200 pounds, with his goal all about getting in the ring. He said he wants to lose more and get into real shape. I suspect it is to get his revenge on the Maverick for making him eat that splash and pin. Number 7, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 1. We all know the story. WrestleMania had to be a success. Otherwise, the WWF would have flopped and nobody would remember Vince McMahon. Hulk Hogan would just be another meathead at Muscle Beach. So it was imperative that the pageantry of the event would get as many eyes on it as possible. There were plenty of celebrities involved with this event, from Liberace to Cyndi Lauper, but the marquee was based around the main event of the evening, Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff versus Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. That's right, Clubber Lang was getting in the squared circle. With Muhammad Ali as the special enforcer on the outside, the four men put on a match that had the crowd in an uproar. Now, I am not going to pretend that the match was good. In fact, it was pretty bad, even for early 80s standards. The in-ring work was not what carried this match though. It was the crowd reaction that makes this special. Everything that was done here, they popped. Mr. T, who was exhausted immediately after getting tagged, got everyone on their feet attempting a simple fireman's carry. They exploded for the ending, where Bob Orton hit Orndorff with his cast to allow the good guys to win. The gamble paid off for McMahon and company, as papers and TV stations all over the nation gave it the attention it deserved. Mr. T himself was not done with the grapples. But we will not talk about those matches on any best list on this channel. Number 6, Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole, NXT TakeOver 30. If you haven't noticed, the past entries have all been tag matches. As I've said before, most of the time, it's the celebs standing on the apron and waiting for the hot tag. So I rank singles matches higher than tag matches because it is up to the guest star to work hard to make sure that the match is memorable. One of those guests who worked hard was Pat McAfee, who had Adam Cole as a guest on his podcast. When McAfee compared Cole's career inferior to Shawn Michaels, the Panama Playboy got up and insulted McAfee, saying that he was only a punter and used all the talent around him for his popularity. Cole would later apologize to McAfee, and the former Colt came to NXT saying everything was good. That is until after the Undisputed Era's tag title match, in which the former NFL Pro Bowler used those punting skills to punt Cole right in the head. This led to a match at NXT TakeOver 30, and the match was good. We knew that Adam Cole was one of the best in-ring workers around, but his dance partner that night was just as game as he was. It also helps the era that this happened, as in August of 2020, people were still at home due to COVID and football was right around the corner, so all eyes were watching. Cole would go on to win with a Canadian Panama Sunrise, though this was not the end of their feud, for there was also a War Games match later in the year. I know I said that I would not include celebrities who became real wrestlers, and yes, McAfee has done more matches than this. But come on, does anyone think that Peyton Manning's favorite teammate is a real wrestler? He will always be a special attraction to pop a crowd when needed, so yes, he gets to be on this list. Number 5, Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam Bigelow at WrestleMania 11. Lawrence Taylor is one of the greatest linebackers in the history of the NFL. Standing at 6'3" and weighing 240 pounds, he was a menace on the gridiron. By the time he retired in 1993, he won every award and accolade you can imagine, including Defensive Player of the Year 3 times and 8-time first-team All-NFL member. He was at ringside at the 1994 Royal Rumble, just a week after announcing his retirement, and the camera made sure we knew about it. And after Bam Bam Bigelow lost his match to the 1-2-3 Kid, a smile ran across his face. Bam Bam confronted him, and when Lawrence went to shake his hand, the Beast from the East shoved him away, setting up a feud for them that would end at the main event at WrestleMania. The match itself is not bad. LT gets winded very early but still continues, doing your normal football moves of shoulder blocks and tackles, even going off the top rope to deliver blows to the tatted up big man. The crowd was into it too, popping out of their seats when LT got the pin and the victory. Was the match great? No. But to this day, it's the only celebrity match to close out the showcase of the Immortals. There was some shenanigans involved, yes, but it was a solid match for its time. Credit also has to be given to Bam Bam for this match. Unlike most on these lists, Lawrence just finished his NFL career and had very limited time to prepare for his in-ring debut. If you watch the match, you can see Bigelow coaching him through what they were doing in real time. He was a very underrated wrestler and should be commended for carrying the future NFL Hall of Famer to a match that was worthy to be replayed. Number 4, Stephen Amell vs. Christopher Daniels at 2018 All In. Stephen Amell is a proud wrestling mark. He has popped in and out of the ring 3 times now, and that does not include his critically acclaimed show Heels. That has him portraying a wrestler in an indie promotion. His first match was in WWE when he was paired with Adrian Neville, who is now Pac in AEW, squaring off against King Barrett and Stardust, who was Cody Rhodes playing a space clown. His words, not mine. It was because of this that Stephen Amell got the itch to have some more matches. So when All In was announced, Cody knew he had to call up the Green Arrow to see if he was interested. Of course, Stephen said yes. He took on an all-time great in Christopher Daniels. There was no build or anything like that, as All In was not really built for stories. It was more of a celebration of great wrestling. And while not great wrestling, it was good and made for a very entertaining match. Mr. Amell put his body on the line with big spots, going through tables and taking some nasty moves. In the end though, it was not enough, as after some counter wrestling, the Fallen Angel hit the BME for the 1, 2, 3. They shook hands afterwards as the crowd gave an ovation. Fun fact about this match, Chris Daniels thought he should have lost to Amell, but Amell refused, even going so far as to not agreeing to the match if he went over. What a jobber. Number 3, Floyd Mayweather vs. Big Show at WrestleMania 24. Floyd Money Mayweather is one of the greatest boxers of all time. He holds an undefeated record of 50-0 and was considered the pound-for-pound king in his prime. The downside to Floyd, though, is he is only 5'4" and weighs 160 pounds. The Big Show Paul White is 7 foot tall, and in 2008 weighed close to 500 pounds. So you can imagine everyone's surprise at the 2008 No Way Out, when Mayweather got into the ring after Big Show goaded him into saving a beaten down Rey Mysterio. Money, fresh off a win over Ricky Hatton, came into the ring with his entourage. The world's largest athlete laughed and got on his knees, asking Floyd to hit him. Floyd did hit him, not pulling his punches, and legit broke Show's nose. A really enraged Giant chased Mayweather and had to be calmed down by Shane McMahon so he would not kill the prize fighter. This set things up for WrestleMania 24, and I mean, look at the size difference between the two. How can you not want to watch this? The match was set up as a no DQ match, a stipulation that Floyd would use to his advantage. His crew would get involved, and he would use chairs and whatever else he could get his hands on to try and stop the Giant. Show eventually would get his hands on Mayweather though, and watching him toss around someone half his size is truly a sight to behold. Eventually though, Money got his hands on a pair of golden brass knuckles, and used his punching power to KO Big Show and score the win. This was a fun David-Goliath match with a little twist of rooting for Goliath, as Floyd, as good as he is also a cocky, arrogant man who everyone wanted to be seen get walloped by the Show. In the end though, Money always wins. Number 2, Johnny Knoxville vs. Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 38. I know. This is not everyone's cup of tea, but there is a place for silly wrestling, and it does not get much sillier than this match. Johnny Knoxville is a comedian known for his late 90s comedy show called Jackass. He has toned it down in his later years, but still enjoys having a laugh or two at other people's expense. So in 2022, when it was announced that the 50-year-old Knoxville was entering the 30-man Royal Rumble, people kind of groaned. And when he entered the Rumble wearing a ridiculous outfit, people groaned more. He was eliminated by Sami Zayn, and that made the conspiracy theorist Johnny's sworn enemy. He would come to SmackDown to try to bait Zayn into a match for his newly won Intercontinental title. Zayn would refuse. Johnny then cost him the belt to Ricochet, sending Sami into a fury and telling the ringer that he would see him at WrestleMania 38. This match is something that must be seen to be believed. Trash cans and fire hydrants, even a giant mousetrap was used. Words cannot begin to describe what was going on in the ring. Johnny ended up getting the victory by using the mousetrap and pinning Zayn in the process. Again, I understand that not everybody will like this. If you care about work rate and over-the-top maneuvers, then this is not for you. But I say to heck with star ratings. Sometimes wrestling should be allowed to let loose and have fun. The massive crowd at AT&T Stadium loved it, and Sammy on his part said that it was the most fun he's had as a pro, so it deserves his spot on this list. Number 1, Bad Bunny vs. Damian Priest at Backlash 2023. We've talked about spectacles and silly wrestling, big names that have done alright in matches, but now we are going to talk about arguably the best all-around match in the history of crossover matches. Bad Bunny is a multi-platinum hip-hop artist from Puerto Rico. He too was a lifelong wrestling fan who started making appearances for WWE in 2021, performing his song Booker T at the Royal Rumble that year. No shucky ducky quack quack lyrics though. At WrestleMania 39, he stopped Dominic Mysterio from using a chain against his father Rey in a match. This upset Dominic's fellow Judgment Day members, including Damian Priest. 2 nights later on Raw, the Archer of Infamy would attack Bad Bunny in the front row, chokeslamming him through the announce table. Bunny would come back the next week and attack Priest with a kendo stick and challenge him to a match at Backlash, which was set to be held at their homeland of Puerto Rico. And what a match it was. The hip-hopster was a natural in the ring. Letting loose a flurry of planches and Canadian destroyers, the crowd was so hot for this one. And when the Judgment Day tried to intervene, they were intercepted by the LWO, and a surprise return from Carlito, who received the biggest pop of the night. Bunny would go on to win the match and the admiration of fans everywhere. This match is not even good just for a celebrity match, but for a match in general. Bad Bunny came out on fire. Damian Priest took everything like a champ. These two men had great chemistry and great work ethic. Honestly, if you have not seen this match, you need to see it. Forget celebrity, this is a good wrestling match in general. And that is our list. What celeb match is your favorite? Which ones did we miss? Leave a comment below on what you think. If you have a list that you would like to see us do a top 10 of, you can put it there too. And if you haven't yet, how about you give us a like and a subscribe? We would appreciate it greatly. Even if you don't though, I've been Rob from the We Are Marks crew. I hope you are having a wonderful day. And until next time, enjoy your wrestling.